Hi, this is Sai Pontecha back with another video. So I have a small question for you. So how many of you want to land into your dream job or else to earn more salary after completion of your education? If yes, then this video is for you to navigate into your right directions with every inch by inch and also helps in your career. Without further delay, let's jump into the topic. How to crack your dream job. Like I already mentioned earlier, so everyone has a dreams, right? So you need to get a good career, right? If you want to pursuing your BTech, after completion of your BTech, you need to get a good salary. So in order to get your good salary, what are the steps that you need to follow? So I will mention every inch by inch and also every example even itself. So how can you face the challenges? So normally how companies will recruit, right? So the companies will recruit directly via on-campus placements. Some companies will recruit off-campus placements. So you have a question. So why do companies will recruit in these two ways? The reason is the campus will call the companies to recruit their students. Some some engineering colleges or else some colleges will won't call their students companies to recruit them. That is the reason we have two types of recruitment process. One is on campus placement and one is off campus placement. In the on campus placements, major companies like Amazon, Microsoft, or TCS or Cognizant will directly recruit their students from the institutions. These are mainly from the tier 1, tier 2 colleges. So in the off campus, all the students who hasn't appeared in the campuses, they can also join in the off campus itself because they want to check out how much potential do I have compared to other students. In the on campus, the competition is little low compared with the off campus placements. The off campus placements will conduct in hacker ranks or as their own platforms or as in the hacker earth or as it's depending upon the company wish. They may conduct in some websites. They can give an assignments to you. They will mention mails, everything. They will mention everything. But when it comes to the off campus, you need to take care every step because there won't be any technical instructor for you to instruct all the items. So you need to have a detailed look when you are applying for the off campus placements. So type of companies. So how the companies are. So when it comes to the companies, there are three types of mainly companies. There are service based companies. The examples for the service based companies are TCS, Wipro, Infosys, Cognizant, HCL, Accenture, etc. So when it comes to the product based companies, so these are companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, FANG companies they might call, Metaverse, Adobe, etc. So when it comes to startup companies, because many of the companies are getting enrolled in the startups as well, right? So many of the students are getting into the roles even. So the startup companies are some examples which I will discuss for you, right? So it's nothing but Paytm or Flipkart, Byju's, Cred, Grow, etc. The main difference between this product based versus service based and the startups is the product based companies mostly sell their own products which they have been designed by themselves or else by their client, by the like with us. When compared to the service based company, they usually offer service that are not tangible. Startup companies like have their own ideas. Startup companies have their own ideas to create their own product and they sell their product to the other companies itself. Even the companies with the startup companies are offered by the many organizations in order to use to make the calables and also make the valuable products. You can see how the Flipkart is raised away, right? You can see how the Paytm has goes in the market, how the grow even itself is growing now. You can even have news, right? So Satyanarayana has invested in the Grow. He is even suggesting some valuable information to the Grow company itself, right? So these are some startup companies. So you can have these type of companies in the market at present, right? So you can choose whichever company you are looking at, right? So in order to go for the product based or service based or startup based company, you need to have the desired skill. So when you have desired skill, so you can actually calibrate how you can good at your coding skills, or how good at your vocabulary, how good at your punctual skills. So these are all of some factors which will consider it. So when you talk about the calibers and everything, so you need to have some type of resume, right? When you have a good resume, so that the campus recruiter will understand, company recruiter will understand, so how good at your potentials compared to the other students, because you are the one you need to unique compared to the other itself. So in order to build your resume unique, you need to have a good number of projects with a good number of certification as well, and also participating in external events like hackathon, external coding challenges as well. So because there are many plenty of external events, so there are MLH platform out there, some GitHub platforms, or can even connecting their external events, even hacker rank, hacker at events, even you can join lead code challenge in task, everything. Certification is nothing but Microsoft Azure certification, AWS certification as well. Or else if you want, if you attended the boot camp sessions, you can even place it in your resume, right? If it is a valuable information. Or else if you participated in GHF, udemy.ai's websites, you can have any plenty of web certifications as well, right? So if you want to participate in the external events, you can participate it. Or else there are some clubs like GDSCs or open source communities. So when you join it and have a lot of work stuff, if you've done it, so you can directly add it to your resume. It will make a bonus skills compared to others. So when coming to the projects, when coming to the projects, you need to have at least 3 to 5 projects in your resume, so that it will make the resume to be good, to looks good, and also makes it more attractive. So I will also discuss what are the projects that you resume needs it, so that it is easier for you, so in order to make the resume good, right? So when coming to the placement process, how the placement process will round. So there are mainly 3 types of placement process will goes on. So number of rounds. So one is aptitude, which you are familiar with. So you need to solve the numerical problems itself, or else they may give a reasoning problems itself, right? So there might be some companies will goes with a coding round itself. So they may give a code. You need to write the logic and you need to submit it. You need, once your coding is done, so you need to check, so how many of your errors are there. So many of the people might done the mistakes in the coding round itself. So you need to be careful when you are going to solve the coding round. So when you are solving the coding round, you need to have a plan. So what is the given input, what is the given output, what are the test cases, because many of the test cases hidden test cases, right? So you need to have a clear look what are the test cases are given. So what is the universal way that I can approach, so in order to tackle all the test cases. So when you are writing the code, you need to have a clear logic in your mind. So don't try to make mistakes, small mistakes, errors. So it will cost you valuable time when you are writing in the coding itself. So taking some key points, I will also discuss what are the issues that you will face in the coding round itself. When coming to the game based rounds, these are game based rounds, nothing but they will give a small game, so you need to solve it or else you need to tackle it. So they may give you some biometric challenges as well. They will give a series of numbers, you need to remember it, or else they may give some logic behind it, you need to solve it. Game based round is one of the easier round compared to the aptitude as well as coding round. But the game based round is you need to keep your mind itself in order to make the process easier, because game based round is nothing but many of you play games, right? When you play the games, you need to keep an eye when you are going for the game based round. They may give a simple game, so you need to solve it. I will also give an example in the next coming. picture so that you will get a clear clarity, right? So these are main pre-placement how the process will go, placement process in the even in the campus placements or else in the off-campus placements. In some campus placements, there might be one pre-placement talk will goes on. They will give a cutoff for you because based on the CGP, or they may give cutoff or based on the resumes itself. So when you are applying in the campus placements itself, you need to have a larger CGPA. It's like if your CGPA has scales to 10, you need to have 8 or 8.5 itself. Some companies will take out 7 even itself. So if you have a good CGPA, then you will be eligible for the more companies even itself. So keep an eye on your CGPA when you are applying for the campus interviews. When coming to the off-campus interviews, it might be differ. So the company will look out the people who make their resume better. So it depends on the variation for the on-campus versus off-campus. So when you are trying for the on-campus placements, you need to have a good CGPA and you need to have a good resume, because the criteria will define by the company even itself, right? The company wants to scale out the people who need to have a lesser number of students when compared to the other who has a good, less CGPA, right? So you need to take care of these such things. So this is the game based on, you can see the picture, right? These are two obstacles here. The red ball here is the red symbol is obstacle. So you can see it, right? The red one is obstacle. You need to, the blue one needs to get a low score. How can you get the low score even itself? So this is a small based game round. So these are some kind of games that will be conducted on the interview itself. So when they think that if it is game based round, you need to have a look on your some videos on it so that it is easier for you to track it, right? So next comes to the, so things you need to remember. So the main challenging task, this is the one you need to have a key look on it. So when you are coding is good, you will easily crack any of the exam first round. So because the interview is like a step, so you need to walk all the steps so that you will finally placed into the company, right? So in order to move the next step, so you need to clear all the things now. So there are some challenges you need to be clear of. First thing is coding round, right? In the coding round there are some different type of things. So there are, first thing, they may give a language based question. The language is nothing but they may give a give an input and output, you need to track it, right? So it might be C++, it might be Java, it might be Python, depending on your way of knowledge or way of your good language skill. Some companies will ask a error code. They will give an error code for you. You need to solve by using debugging. So you need to check out the way the error is given. You need to have a look on it. And coming to the third part is nothing but database code. Database. They will give a scenario based question. So you need to give the output for the database. They will give an input. They will tell this is the one, you need to get the output as well. So that you need to write your logic so that you will get the output, right? This is some way of questions they will give. And also I will mention a plan for you which will be easier for you to tackle any kind of interview or any type of placement process even itself. So I will, this is the one best video you have it. So if you miss this video even a single minute or single second, you will cost your life. So don't skip this video in any point of time. And some subjective topics, there are some subjective topics you need to have a eye on it, because the company will ask a MCQ based subjective topics. They may ask oops concepts, they won't give direct questions even itself. They will give a scenario, you need to check out which suits this situation. They may ask software development, they may ask operating system, they may ask computer networks, they may give question, you need to solve it. So they won't give a larger time for you to solve any of your problem. They will give a random of 1 hour to 2 hours. in order to complete all the MCQs process as well as some coding. The company pattern might differ, but the actual scenario is same. Many companies will follow the same scenarios. They may give MCQs, they may give coding question, you need to solve it. They in the MCQs they may mix the aptitude as well as subjective topics. Only some companies will focus only on aptitude topics, some companies will focus both the topics, some companies only focus on subjective topics itself, some companies only focus on only one topic. It might be computer networks, it might be database, it might be operating systems, it might be data structures even itself. It's depending upon the company, right? So I will give a plan for you to follow such that it is easier for you in order to make your interview process easier, right? So these are the key points that you need to remember. So the first thing is coding. Yes, second one is subjective topics, so which you need to have a key note on, right? So the projects in the miscellaneous is nothing but, so what are the other challenging ways that you need to face the interviews, or else you need to go for the process of the exam even itself, right? So in the long ways, keep a plan for the next 6 months. If your placement starting at the June or July, so it's if it is from the November or January, just start from the January itself, so that it is easier for you to tackle one problem per day. When you are solving one problem per day, don't try to see the solution at the first itself. First try to take a problem for the next first 10 minutes. So when it is easier problem, you can easily solve within 5 to 10 minutes, right? So within the 5 to 10 minutes, if it is easier problem, just see the question, what are the inputs and the output for the next 2 minutes. So for the question, take a span of 2 minutes. So what is the input, what is the output? Okay, this is the given input, this is the given output. So just take a pen and paper. So just write down the logic given itself, so that when you write the logic, you will face a small issues, right? So that it is easier for you to debug it in the paper. So once you debug it in the paper itself, try to write your code, because it is way of method, the process you need to make it, right? So when you try to focus on different area of the problems, when you focus on it, so that easier for you to make the process easier. So when you take the problem of the day, there are many platforms for the problems they will give. The late code you may have hacker rank, you may have geeks of geeks, you may have hacker earth, you may have coding ninjas, there might be code forces even itself. So there are plenty of platforms available in the online even itself, right? So when you are focusing on your on problem, you need to try to make different way of approaches. So when you make different type of approaches, so that it is easier for you can understand, these are my approaches, today I have solved it. So when take a book, take a note on it, today I have solved problem on arrays. So I have used various methods, I have used some methods to debug the problem or else to tackle the problem. Just make a note on every topic, and on the next day take a problem on arrays. In the next day, take another medium problem of arrays. When you complete easier and medium problems, it is somewhat a slight better than harder, right? Because the harder problems you can't directly solve it. So when you take an easier and medium problem, so that it is easier for you to challenge for the harder problem itself. So in the first week, when you take in the topic in the first week, so let's say you have an array. So you when you're solving the problem of array in this week, in the first 2 days itself, take one or two easier problems or three easier problems. Try to solve as many as possible solution with less time complexity. So when you're trying to make the complexity very lesser, so that easier for you to tackle the other problems. So in the next 2 days, take a medium problem, so that you have for total 5 problems in the next day itself. So take an even another medium problem. It's totally 5 days you have solved easy and medium problem. In the next day, take one or two harder problems, try to solve it. When you try to solve the harder problems, you will get a clear cut off. So these are my steps which I have followed easier and medium days. So today I can solve these harder ways into different way of crunches. So when you try to take the harder problem, so try to crunch it. So these are my steps you need to follow. When I follow these steps, so this is the way of approach that I am going to solve the harder problem. So when you try to solve a harder problem, you can get a clarity. Okay, I can also track any way of solution in arrays or maybe in the strings or in the linked list. So because the Java or Python itself is not a smaller topic, right? They may have arrays, you may have strings, you may have linked lists, you may have binary trees, binary search trees. There are various topics, right? Because you need to have a clear cut plan. Take a 6 months plan. For every 15 days, change the topic even itself. So when you try to change the topic, you can also focus on the basic concepts itself, basic syntax, basic way of approach. Everything you have a clear cut in your mind, right? So if you have now the question comes is, Baya, you said that try to solve problems in one day, right? Per day a problem. But I have not able to solve the problem in the day. So what is the way of approach that you need to follow on the next day, right? So if you have not solved the problem, just keep aside it, take another problem. So if you solve it, okay. If you not solve the first problem, so try to check the solution, possible solution, just a logic. Even if you're not able to get the logic, try to check the solution, just try to note it, note down it, don't copy and paste it. So try to write the code as it is so that you can understand what is the logic given here, and also take a pen and paper. This is the logic given, these are the steps that you have taken, right? When you have a note on this, so the next day if you're going to solve another problem, you will get an idea. So this is the way of approach that I saw in the previous problem. So if the problem is easier, so that you can easily solve it, right? So after the next 5 days, don't take the problem. After the next sixth day, take the problem with the easier problem, right? Which I have mentioned, you haven't solved it, right? Just make a note, this is not solved. So take the problem on the next sixth day, try to solve it. Even if you're not solving it, it may tells you that your concepts are a little bit lagging inside. So if your concepts are lagging, just make a note, this is my concepts lagging, I need to focus on it. So that, so back to the concept, make a note, this is my concept. In the arrays I have missed some topic, so or else in the binary search I have missed it, or else in the anything that you have missed it, just make a note, just everything that you make in detail. So first when you are going to any topic, just write down all the subtopics even itself, make an Excel sheet. So in Java, these are my subtopics, arrays, my strings or linked list or binary search tree or anything, right? So just make all the things note down, and also try to make one problem, 2 to 3 problems of easier, 2 to 3 problems of harder, medium, and 1 to 2 problems of harder, so that you will get a clear clarity of these are problems that I have solved it. So don't try to make things errors, right? In this stage when you make errors, so that you will get a clarity, right? So that this is the mock test that you are writing for the company, right? So first you think that today I'm going to write the mock test for some company XYZ. So okay, this is the question they have given, so I need to solve within the 30 minutes or 1 hour. So try to make a fixed time. So just make down the what are the things that I have given. So make every step clear by clear. It is easier for you to think of it, right? When coming to the subject to topic, so I have what I have told you for the languages, try to make at least 1 hour per day, right? One problem per day. So that if you get the 7 days, first 6 days try to solve all the six to 10 problems, so that you will get a clear understanding. So what are the problems that I have done, what are the mistakes that I have done. In the seventh day, try to done which are the mistake problem that I have done, and what are the problems I already solved. So because the seventh day might be a Sunday, right? If you think of Monday to Sunday, the seventh day might be a Sunday. So Sunday might have a gap, so that you may get at least 2 to 3 hours on the day. So if you give 2 to 3 hours on the day, you will get a clear clarity. So these are the problems that I have done, these are some mistakes that I have done, this is the way of approach that I have doing. So I need to make clear on these topics, right? So once you clear it, you make a round on it in the next week itself. In when you are doing these process, you need to make a recurrent process itself. So after the next week, so what are the topics in the past week and the present week? You need to make a clear note on the past 2 weeks itself. In the next week, you need to clear all the 1, 2, 3 weeks. In the fourth week, similar 1, 2, 3, 4, all the weeks. When you cover all the 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, so that it is easier for you to discuss what are the challenges, tasks that you have faced, and also the way, because some problems might be interlinked with the previous approaches, right? So you need to have a clear understanding itself. When it comes to the subjective topic, when subjective topics, because these are topics which are important for your interviews, or else even for the MCQ exam even itself. They may ask Linux questions, they may ask operating systems, they may ask database inner joins. So they may give a table itself, what are the inner join that it forms. They may give left join, how it forms. These way of approach they may ask it, right? So they may ask computer network, they will give a problem. You need to solve the computer network problem itself. They may give data structure problem, you need to solve it. So they may give a code, you need to check out the time complexity. So these are way of approaches they may give. They may give it error code, or else they may give a line which you need to get the output, right? So they may give output, they may give the logic, they may leave one line. So if you place the input, so you need to get the output. So they may ask variety number of types in order to get you confused. So don't get confused when you're trying to write any exam even itself. So coming to the projects, so when coming to the projects, you need to have your Java projects, you may have your Python. In the Python you may have machine learning projects, or if you are in the C program itself, you may have C++ program. Using if in the Java, you can use Java FX to create a web apps, or else in the database connections even itself. In the web development apps, you may create HTML projects, or else if you are well known with the React, you may create with the React projects. If you are known with the mobile app developments, Android apps, or else iOS apps. So you can even include if you are done with the campus projects, like smart home detectors. They can even for the students, CCE students, you may include, because when you are trying to explain the projects, you need to explain what are the pros and cons, what you have done it. So what are the difficulties that you faced in the project? When you explain everything in a step by step, the interviewer will understand, okay, he is the one who has suited it, right? So these are the steps that you need to make care of it. When come to the miscellaneous, nothing but you need to have your aptitude skills. Try to solve some problems in a week. Aptitude or reasoning problems, they may, in the company interviews itself, they may ask a puzzle questions. So they will give a small scenario, so you need to tell what is the logic in it. So there are plenty of game based rounds. In the game based, I already shown the picture, right? So you need to solve within the lesser time. So because the time is too less for any type of rounds, so it may be 60 hours, it may be 1 hour. Because when you enter into the exam, you don't know how the time is going on, right? So have a pre-planned, so this is the exam, so these are my skills that I need to have, this is the way of approach that I need to have a better plan on it. So when you are having 1 hour to 2 hours, just have a look with if it is a coding questions, they may give 2 to 3 questions. Some companies will give 4 questions depending on the companies, right? So when you are going to the coding questions, have a look on the inputs and outputs first thing, so that you can have a detailed note on the point which you have done previously. Because the coding questions are nothing but which you have done the previous problem. Majority of the problems might be new, but the logic behind the questions might be similar which you have done in the previous 6 months, or in three previous 4 to 5 months, right? So when you try to make all these things in a clear manner for the next 6 months, it is easier for you when you are going for the coding around. Some companies will give a small assignment for you, you need to solve it. It may give they may give a 1 day or 1.5 day. The majority of these assignments will be given by the startup companies, because they won't have an access to the online platform, because they won't charges, right? So they won't charge to the company, so they won't, things might be different for the startups, right? So the company will give a small assignment for you. You need to write your database code, you need to design your HTML code, you need to develop in a way of scenario. Some companies will give a picture. You need to try to design it as it is. It's depend on the company wish. So how the company will ask, right? So you need to clear in every way of situation. So how I need to track it, right? So these are some key points that you need to remember. So I would want to make you that take a key picture on it so that it is easier for you when you're going for the interview itself, or else just make in paper, take a pen and paper, just wrote down all the points which I have shown in this picture, so that when you're going for the interview, have a checklist for it. So when you are going for any process of it, so today I am solving this coding question on arrays. Tomorrow I'm going to solve medium problem on arrays. Today I'm going to read operating system. Because when you read all, because in the engineering itself, we are not going to read all the basic concepts and everything, but we are going to solve only problems, right? But the interview, when you go comes to the interview, the company will ask you a definitions even itself. So what is an operating system, why you are using operating system, so what is the difference between Windows and Linux. So these kind of questions they may ask. They may ask in the database question, they may ask in the web development question, because they will see only your resume. They may ask the questions based on your resume preferences itself. Some company recruiters will only ask the project questions. So once you are telling when you're discussing about the topic on the project, they may only ask the questions related to the project only even itself. So have a clear look on it. So don't check your resume when you on resume, right? So when you are going for the company process itself, you need to have your resume check, so that this is my project, so these are the points that I need to discuss, these are my steps that I need to be take care of it. So they may ask database questions, they may ask data structure questions, algorithmic questions, they may give a code. Even in the interview itself, they may give a code, you need to solve it. They may give a question, you need to solve it. They may ask you a what is the time complexity of a binary search or a binary sort. They may ask a binary sort, right? These are some kind of approach they may ask. In the interview rounds consist of mainly group discussion. Some companies will have a group discussion followed by technical round and followed by HR rounds, or else managerial round, or else phone call round. Some companies will have 2 to 3 technical rounds. Some company will have one technical round. Some companies will be held both technical as well as HR in the same round itself. It's depending on the company. Many service-based company, they will only have one technical as well as one HR. But coming to the product-based companies, they may have some technical, 1 or 2 technicals, one HR, or else a group discussion followed by 1 or 2 technical rounds, or else followed by HR round. So once because it is eliminating stages, the company will look as the person who has eliminated persons, right? So the elimination process might to be clear. So if you won't be in the elimination round, you will be in the technical round. So when you are going for the interview, keep a eye on it, keep an eye on your resume, keep an eye on your topics, keep a look on what are the subjective topics and operating systems. So what are the database management that I have known, because there are 2 types of database, one is NoSQL, one is SQL databases, right? So you need to have a look on it. Some, if you are good at your latest technologies or blockchain, uh, they may ask you even the blockchain questions even itself, because this is a one you need to that trend, right? They may ask the data science question, they may ask Python questions, they may ask Java, they may ask plenty of questions even itself, right? Because there is no rule book for the company to need to ask only these kind of topics, right? It's the basic on the interviewer, right? So you need to be well prepared for the technical round as well as HR rounds. The HR round, they may ask you puzzle based questions. You need to be have a clear look on it. I will also attach some puzzle round based questions so that it is easier for you to won't go to any other topics to search it, right? I will also attach some technical interview questions in the description below, and also the how group discussion will follows, right? You have a group of 50 members or 60 members, or else the company will think of 30 members itself. They may give a topic, you need to speak on it. Whether some students will have some pros, some will have cons, some will give conclusions. It is depending upon your way of nature how you deliver the content, because when your vocabulary is good, when your speaking skills are right, the company manager or the person who is taking held who is going to hold the group discussion, he will also knows this is the person who is the right for that next round of interview. So try to make a clear things when you are going for the technical rounds, or if you are going for the HR round. You don't clumsy things. When you clumsy the things, it will defect it will affect your round of your interviews. So try to make it clear, understand it. Some people will ask, Bhaiya, tell me about yourself. This is a one question, first question they may ask it, Nana. So how can you face this question? Because this is the first question they may ask. Tell me about yourself, right? So when you explain in this question, you need to be have a clear mind. So I will tell the scenario, two scenarios. So which scenario you need to be followed? The scenario one. Hi, I am Sai Ponteja. I am pursuing my BTech from so and so, and my CGPA is so and so, and my projects are. Don't say the sentence this is the way, because and because you have mentioned the three ands in your one sentences or two sentences, the interviewer will think that okay, he don't have some good vocabulary. So don't try to make these kind of mistakes, because if your potentials are good but your way of expression is not good, right? So when your way of expression is not good, so you need not to be convinced, huh? So when you try to convince the interviewer, when you explain the clear format of the interviewer, so that he can understand how you are different from the others. So how you can explain is, hi, this is Sai Pondaya pursuing my BTech from so and so with an overall CGPA of so and so. So how can it look like? It's look like a one sentence which consists of all the topics: my name, my college name, and my CGPA, right? This is the way of structure you need to deliver. And my projects are so and so. This is the way my projects are XYZ. I have done some YABC, and I need to explain what are the pros and cons, and then explain the second project and third project, and it's over. Because the interviewer who is taking for you, they don't have a lot of time. He has a limited time for you. Let's say he has a 30 to 40 minutes of time. He needs to assess you, he needs to check you what are your skills and everything, right? So when you make things clear and understandable, so that you can easily crack into the next round of your interview process. Even for the HR round, they may ask why you want to join in our company. So why this role suits for you compared to the others, you need to explain. So why I am good at this, so why, you need to explain a scenario based. You need to tell how good compared to the others, so you need to explain a situation. So this is a way I have delivered it, so these are my potentials. You need to explain the situation which the same exact way in the college even itself, because it is some easier for you if you have done something real in your practical life, right? So you need to explain, so what is the situation behind the question they have delivered. In the way you need to project yourselves is too much important. Make a clear note on this, because why I am telling strongly on this point is because the HR will thinks on it. If you tell a story which will with a real life example even itself, it will directly affects you, impacts on the interview. Okay, he is the one who has done some research on it, some topic on it. The company will ask, so why do you want to join a company? So do you know the company what the name is, right? So when you're going for the company, just have a search on it. This is a company, so let's take XYZ. So this company has some good track record, some a good background check, right? Have a background check when you are going for a company in the campus placements or the off campus placements, because the company will won't say this is my company, these are my pros and cons, right? So when you have some pre-placement talk in your campus itself, just make a note down what are the constraints that they have mentioned. So what is something, some persons don't know something, right? So how it differs from others, right? So you need to explain this scenario even itself. So when you make the things clear, it is easier for them to understand every scenario basis, right? So this is the way you need to explain it. You need to mold with the interviewer. So it's not a one way interaction, it's one to one interaction itself. So when you are going for sitting for an interview, it's just a normal call itself, right? He's even interview is one of the person in the olden times, even he has been interviewed, right? So when you take going for the interview, don't struggle. It's just a normal way of conversation with the person from the company. He's some representative of the company, right? Some XYZ representative of company. So when you're going for an interview, don't try to panic things. So when you try to panic things, you may forget some points that you want to deliver it. So even when you're going for an example, they may ask what is polymorphism, right? They may ask you question. So what is constructor? When you explaining the question, so try to give a real-time example scenario itself. When you try to give a scenario, real-time scenario itself, so that the company recruiter will understand, okay, he has done something research on the topic. So because when you are going for dealing with a project, even in the companies, so you need to have some background check, right? Without going a background, you can't directly go in the project, you can't do the coding itself, right? So you need to check the pros and cons and everything. So when you are going for these kind of interviews, so have a background check with the company. What is the company? So what they have done for the past 5 to 6 years. Don't go deep insert. So just have 5 to 6 lines of the company what I am going to deliver on the today's, right? So have a note on it. Have a let's say today I'm going for an interview XYZ. So the company XYZ is one of the biggest MNC. So it has a good track record of getting some awards. So you need to express these way of importance. So you have some given some cases, right? So try to make 5 to 6 lines. Have a note down of 5 to 6 lines. So what is the company which you are going for the next day of interview, or else on the day of interview itself? So tell me about first they may ask you, tell me about yourself. This is a one question every interview will ask, right? So when the question arises, just you know it, right? Already the question which they have asked it, right? So once you're going for the interview, before going for the interview, just write down the things which I need to deliver on the day. So tell me about yourself. I need to write down things, right? They may ask your projects, what are your projects? So what I need to explain is just, if you think that if you are not remembering, just write down the things which you are going to be explain it. When you are writing down it, it will easier for you when you're going for the interview. So if I have interview for the next within 5 minutes, so just have a glance look on it. Okay, if they ask this question, so how can I face it? So when you explain it, so that easier for you to crack the interview. So follow these some steps, because it is not difficult for you, right? So when you're going for the interview, just make some things clear for you, right? So have a quick look on what I am going to deliver within the next 5 to 10 minutes, or within the next 20 to 50 minutes, right? So even I will attach some interview questions, technical interview questions, which they may ask in the Java, maybe ask in Python itself, so that easier for you, right? Okay. So coming to the HR, they may ask the puzzle questions, right? So keep an eye on it. What are the questions they may ask? So what are the questions that they may deliver? The technical interviews, have HR interviews in the group discussions itself, right? Okay, that's all. I hope you understand something new from the video itself, right? So that's all from my side. Hope you get something valuable information. If you learn something valuable, please like, share. For more such information on tech topics or placement related videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.